That sudden, suffocating tightness in your chest during a stressful moment is not a malfunction of your heart, but your brain intentionally deploying a physical shield to protect you from an invisible emotional bullet. In the next few minutes, we are going to completely demystify this uncomfortable sensation by looking directly at the secret communication network operating between your brain and your rib cage. You will discover the exact neural pathway that translates abstract mental worry into physical muscle constriction, why your conscious mind completely misinterprets these bodily signals, and how you can use this precise neuroscientific knowledge to unlock that physical grip in real time. Imagine sitting at your desk on an otherwise quiet afternoon. The room is peaceful, your coffee is warm, and your body is at rest. Suddenly, a notification pops up on your screen. It is an unexpected message from your supervisor containing just 4 words: "We need to talk." Instantly, before you have even formulated a conscious thought or typed a reply, you feel it. A heavy, constricting pressure settles directly behind your breastbone, as if an invisible steel band has been wrapped around your rib cage and tightened with a wrench. Your breathing becomes shallow, your throat feels restricted, and you might even wonder if something is seriously wrong with your cardiovascular system. Why does a simple string of text on a screen trigger such an immediate, dramatic physical clamping in your chest? To understand this, we must look at the brilliant pioneering research of Dr. Hugo Critchley from the year 2004. Dr. Critchley and his team of neuroscientists at the University of Sussex utilized functional magnetic resonance imaging to study how the human brain monitors the internal state of the body, a biological process known as interoception. What they discovered was groundbreaking. When we are faced with emotional distress, our brains do not keep that stress confined to our thoughts. Instead, a deeply buried structure called the anterior insular cortex acts as a central translation hub. The moment you perceive an emotional threat, your anterior insula immediately creates a physical blueprint of that threat and projects it onto your organs. Let us look at how this biological blueprint is executed. For hundreds of thousands of years of human history, a threat was never abstract. A threat was a physical entity, a predator crouching in the tall grass, a falling rock, or a rival tribe member wielding a weapon. To keep you alive, your amygdala, which acts as your brain's smoke detector, had to react within milliseconds. It could not afford to wait for your slow, analytical prefrontal cortex to analyze the situation. If a physical predator was about to strike, your amygdala had to protect your most critical biological assets. Those assets are, of course, your heart and your lungs. If those vital organs are punctured or crushed, your survival is over. So, your amygdala runs an ancient survival program that is hardwired into your peripheral nervous system. It sends a high-speed electrical cascade down your spinal cord, bypassing your conscious control entirely. This signal travels along the intercostal nerves, which are the pathways that control the intricate web of muscles running between your ribs. The command is simple and absolute: contract. This violent, involuntary contraction pulls your ribs tightly together, flattening your chest cavity and creating a rigid, pressurized shield of muscle and bone around your heart and lungs. It is a biological armor plating sliding into place to prepare for physical impact. But there is no impact. You are just reading a screen. There is no physical beast coming to crush your chest, yet your body has prepared for a physical battle. The tragedy of our modern lives is that our ancient brains cannot tell the difference between a threat to our physical survival and a threat to our social or financial status. To your amygdala, a critical email, an awkward social interaction, or a looming deadline is treated with the exact same biological urgency as a physical assault. Now, let us climb higher into this neural machinery, because this is where the survival loop becomes truly astonishing. The real crisis is not that your chest tightens in response to stress. The real crisis is how your brain reacts to that tightness, creating a self-reinforcing loop of anxiety. When those intercostal muscles contract to protect you, they physically restrict your lungs from expanding fully. You are forced to take shallow, rapid breaths from the very top of your chest. This shallow breathing pattern means your body is unable to efficiently exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen, causing carbon dioxide levels to rise slightly in your bloodstream. This is where we must look at a second, equally remarkable study conducted by Dr. Sarah Garfinkel in the year 2015. Dr. Garfinkel and her colleagues investigated the relationship between interoceptive accuracy and anxiety disorders. They discovered that our brains are constantly scanning our internal organs to determine how we should feel emotionally. Your brain is not a passive receiver of thoughts, it is an active interpreter of bodily data. When your chest is tight and your breathing is shallow, specialized sensors in your major arteries detect this change and send urgent signals back up the vagus nerve to your brainstem. The brainstem alerts the anterior insular cortex, which looks at the tight chest and the shallow breathing and reaches a terrifying conclusion: we must be dying. Think about the incredible irony of this system. The brain detects a purely psychological worry, such as how you will pay your bills next month. To protect you from this worry, it tightens your chest. But then, because your chest is tight, your brain assumes you are in physical danger, and it floods your system with even more adrenaline and cortisol. Have you ever tried to reason your way out of a racing heart? It does not work, does it? That is because your physical state is driving your cognitive state, not the other way around. Your anxiety does not start in your thoughts. It is born in the physical constriction of your rib cage. Your brain is misinterpreting its own protective measures as a sign of impending doom. Before you understood this neuroscience, you probably experienced this tight chest as a frightening sign of weakness or a symptom of a health crisis. You felt like your body was failing you under pressure, which only made you spiral deeper into panic. But look at the difference now. Now that you understand the biological program, you realize this tightness is not a failure of your body at all. It is an incredibly sophisticated, beautifully orchestrated survival mechanism operating exactly the way evolution designed it to. Your body is not broken. It is just trying to protect you from an abstract emotional threat using the only physical tools it has. So, how do we use this knowledge to turn the system off? We cannot simply think our way out of a tight chest, because the evolutionary pathways from the body to the brain are far stronger than the pathways from our logical thoughts to our body. Instead, we must use physical, neurological interventions to send a clear signal of safety back to our survival networks. Here are 3 highly specific, actionable techniques to manually override your brain's protective armor. The first technique is what behavioral neuroscientists call the dual inhalation expansion. When your chest tightens and your breathing becomes shallow, the tiny balloon-like air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, collapse. This collapse triggers a chemical alarm in your brainstem, screaming that you are suffocating. To reverse this, we must force those air sacs to reinflate. To execute this technique, take a deep, steady breath in through your nose until your lungs are almost full, and then, at the very peak of that breath, take one more sharp, sudden sniff to completely expand your chest. Hold that maximum expansion for 3 seconds, and then let out a slow, sighing exhale through your mouth. This second, sudden sniff pops the collapsed alveoli open, instantly floods your bloodstream with oxygen, and triggers the stretch receptors in your lungs. These receptors send an immediate message up the vagus nerve to the brain, commanding the amygdala to shut down the adrenaline production. It is a literal physical override switch. The second technique is interoceptive labeling. The moment you feel that heavy pressure settle onto your chest, you must intervene in the narrative your brain is constructing. Instead of allowing your subconscious mind to whisper that something is wrong with you or that you cannot breathe, you must speak to yourself with scientific precision. Say to yourself, "My intercostal muscles are contracting to protect my vital organs. This is my physical armor plating. I am safe." By using precise language to label the sensation, you shift the neural activity away from the emotional amygdala and up into the prefrontal cortex. You are changing the signal from an emergency alarm to a known biological process, which instantly dampens the threat response. The third technique is progressive somatic resistance. Because your intercostal muscles are locked in an involuntary contraction, You can use a physiological principle known as post-isometric relaxation to force them to release. To do this, deliberately lean into the tension, shrug your shoulders up toward your ears, squeeze your chest muscles as tightly as you can, and hold your breath for 5 seconds. Lean into the contraction completely, and then, with a long exhale, consciously drop your shoulders and expand your ribcage outward. By voluntarily pushing the muscles to their absolute limit of contraction, you force the Golgi tendon organs within the muscle fibers to trigger an automatic, deep relaxation reflex. You are manually resetting the baseline tension of your entire chest. Take a moment to let this sink in. The next time you feel that heavy pressure in your chest, your entire relationship with that sensation will be completely different. You will no longer view your body as a fragile, reactive vessel that breaks under emotional pressure. You will see it for what it truly is, an incredibly loyal, ancient biological machine. That tightness is not a symptom of your anxiety. It is a physical manifestation of your body's profound commitment to your survival. It is your nervous system standing guard, holding up a shield, willing to restrict its own breath just to keep your heart safe from harm. When you understand the biological programs running beneath your skin, you stop fighting your own physiology and start collaborating with it. Carry this knowledge with you. Honor the armor your body creates, but remember that you now hold the key to unlock it. If you are ready to continue decoding the hidden forces that drive every single decision you make, subscribe to Habit Decoded. Our journey into the deepest, most fascinating corners of human nature is only just beginning. In our next exploration, we are going to dive into the invisible, subconscious feedback loops that govern your daily choices before your conscious mind even realizes you have made a decision. You will never look at your own free will the same way again. Stay curious, watch the patterns, and we will decode the next habit together.